Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Average Joe Sports, a sports lovers podcast. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the pod today. If you could, please make sure to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel out a ton and also allows me to continue making more content just like this. So without further ado, let's get right into it. In today's episode of Average Joe Sports, it's week 2 in the NFL. And I'm starting off by giving you my Thursday night football predictions. This Thursday, it's a matchup between the Washington football team and the New York football Giants. Both teams are 0-1 and looking to get their seasons back on track. First, let's dive into the Washington football team. Ryan Fitzpatrick is out with a hip injury. Happened on Sunday. Super unfortunate. We wish him the best in a speedy recovery. Heineke is the starter now. Whenever he came in on Sunday in relief of Ryan Fitzpatrick, he looked decent. He didn't look great, but by no stretch of the imagination did he look terrible. We saw him last year in the playoff game versus Tom Brady and the Bucs almost pull off a major upset. But now, with everybody's hopes and dreams resting on Heineke's shoulders, how will he respond? Obviously, the football team is a very, very well-coached team led by Ron Rivera and company, but with Heineke as the main man in Washington now, can the football team survive and weather the storm until Ryan Fitzpatrick comes back? It said 6, maybe 7 weeks. If they can be anywhere between like 4-4 or 5-4, 5-3 even, they'll be set up. They'll be in good shape to take the NFC East. Like I just said, the NFC East is still wide open, and will it be the Cowboys? I don't know. They looked good week 1 versus Tampa Bay. Let's see if they can continue that. Washington could continue being in a lot of games they don't really have any business winning with that great defense, especially that defensive line. With Chase Young and Sweat coming off the edges, that's a terrifying duo. So if Washington can maybe win a few games here and there with the dink and dunk type offense that they implemented whenever Alex Smith was still there, who knows? Maybe Washington won't be as bad off as a lot of people think without Ryan Fitzpatrick. My 2 key players for the Washington football team are first, Antonio Gibson. Why? Because the Giants can be taken advantage of in the run. Last week, obviously, the numbers were a little bit inflated because they let up a 75-yard rushing touchdown by Melvin Gordon. If Washington wants to be able to move the ball on the ground, it might be a good bet. My second key player to look out for is Logan Thomas. Keep an eye out for him in the red zone. Heineke threw his touchdown last week to him, and I intend on that duo scoring a few more while Heineke is in as the starter. To the New York football Giants. A bad first game to start off for, falling to the Denver Broncos. Daniel Jones yet again had another fumble that put his team in jeopardy in a game where they were already down. It's his biggest downfall, especially whenever you don't have that big play capability attached to your name. When you think of Daniel Jones, you think of fumbling. That's just what you think of. But people like Mahomes, Brady, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, they can go down by a couple scores, and people are still going to think that they have a chance to win the game. You don't think that whenever you have Daniel Jones. As soon as you're down by 10, I know a lot of Giants fans that are probably putting their face in the palm of their hands. What will Saquon's production look like? Last week he only had 10 carries for a combined total yardage of 26. 2.6 average is not going to get it done. Now I understand he's coming back from the ACL injury. The O-line is terrible. But the Giants run with Saquon, pun intended. Whenever he's going, they're going. He gets the play action going. Obviously helped Daniel Jones out a ton. So without Saquon running like a banshee all over the defense, the Giants' pass game doesn't work either. And I think it's going to be a long week at the office going up against that Washington football team's defensive line. Now on to my 2 key players for the New York Giants. The first being Kenny Golladay. I know he had 4 receptions for 67 yards last week, and that's alright. But for the big money that they're paying you, over $20 million a year, you need to go get some more balls. You need to be that dominant number 1 threat that they paid you for. Demand the ball in the red zone. Doesn't look like Ingram's going to be in for week 2 either, so you need to be that much bigger of a presence. The second key player I'm looking for is James Bradberry. He's the best corner on the team, so he'll be covering Terry McLaurin, Washington football team's best wide receiver. Classic matchup, number 1 wide receiver versus number 1 cornerback. You know that Heineke has his favorite couple of targets, so if James Bradberry can keep those 2 offensive threats quiet, the Giants have a chance to win the game. And finally, the point of the video where I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for, my prediction. Well, I'm going for the Washington football team by a final score of 20-9. Both teams combined to hit the under, which was set at 40.5 points, and Washington covers the -3.5. Alright guys, that was this episode of Average Joe Sports, a sports lovers podcast. Please take a second to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel out a ton and also allows me to continue making more content just like this. I'll be back with another episode soon. Thank you guys.